Starting. Test test 1 2 3. Test test 1 2 3. Test test 1 2 3. We are live and direct. Where's the camera at? Oh shoot! How come I don't see it on my screen? Anyways, we are live here, sunny San Diego, California. We're waiting for Pedro. Oh, I got a phone call. Of course, I get a phone call right when I start the live. They couldn't wait. You guys want to answer it with me together? Let's see who it is. If it's something personal, just mute it, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Oh,
Chris.
it's a debt collector, bro. Debt collector. Um, so we got Pedro coming in hot today. My man Pedro, he's an Instagram friend. I've never actually spoken to him via telephone or face-to-face, just Instagram DM. So he's a local flipper in Southern California. We're going to find out who this guy is, but his videos are pretty cool. The edits are cool. The way he speaks is cool. Like, I'm jealous of this guy's demeanor. He's just got tattoos. Like, my mom would kill me if I look like this guy. Like, would your mom kill you? My mom would murder me if I look like this. And so that's maybe why I'm jealous of this whole thing. We got a couple people in here. Good. I see Amir. I see Yunan. What's up, Yunan? But anyways, we're going to interview him at the top of the hour. I'm going to go text Tyler, tell him I'm live now, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Tyler, Royke, I'm live now. Pedro is the guest. All right. So I want to talk to you guys. If you guys have any content you want to discuss, we could talk about it. If you like to talk about fix and flips, wholesale, real estate, the market, interest rates, I'm just going to talk until someone interrupts me. It's something I'm good at, right? Let's talk with, what do you want to start? Give me a topic, Jason. Jason over here is my Joe Rogan right-hand man. Let's talk about flips. We can talk about wholesale. Wholesale's good. So I have a deal in the San Diego State area. Chris Johnston was the person who brought it to me. He was from YouTube. I met Chris off of YouTube, believe it or not. Yeah, so I met Chris off YouTube. He found me a deal, and now I am trying to wholesale it because I want some money, bro. I'm tired of eating hot dogs with Chris and Jason at Costco. Chris, I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but he's making a commission on this. He's making pretty good money. And you know how he found it? Guess how he found this deal? Me. Okay, he found the deal because of me. I forced Chris to cold call. He's not going to agree with this story, but I told him, hey, call 300 people a day. I'll do everything for you. All you have to do is sit there and wait till someone picks up. I literally sat him down in a chair. I gave him access to the dialer. I already pulled the data. He's not doing anything except calling. And guess what? First day, boom, got a lead. Then all he did was sell it to me, and now he's making double the commission. Isn't that crazy? And so that's what wholesaling is all about. Wholesaling is just about doing the task at hand, which is finding these buyers and then finding these sellers and then finding the buyers to match. You're basically matchmaking. And that's kind of the key aspect of wholesaling. No, you don't need a license. I don't know who said that to you, but you don't need a license. You don't need money. Look at Chris. Chris has very little money invested in the dialer, zero. The leads, the data I gave him, zero. All he's invested in is time and studying the scripts and sticking to the script. So you don't need money. You don't need a license. You don't really need knowledge about how to wholesale, right? You just need to be an agent. And that agent lifestyle will lead you down this path. You'll see what a good deal is. If it wasn't a good deal, you know what Chris was going to do? He was just going to list it anyways. So as a real estate agent, you should be cold calling every single day for these off-market properties. And so that's kind of the point I want to drive home while we wait for the rest of the crew. Let's see, Tyler just texted me. Sure. Oh, what's up, Tim? Tim Whitman in the house. In the house. In the house. I got a Zoom call. Tim, okay. You got the Zoom connected just in case? All right, he's going to connect it on the go. What's up, Hayden? Rez? All right, so make sure you guys hit the like button. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 viewers right now. You better hit the 12 people. I need 12 likes, okay? This Zoom call is about to start in 9 minutes. We're going to meet with Pedro Claro, I think. He's a Brazilian. I don't know if he does jiu-jitsu, but he's Brazilian. Have you ever had Brazilian food, Jason? No. I've had Brazilian food. I need to lock my office and get Zoom running. There we go. I like it, Tim. But today's goal is to talk wholesale, fix and flip, realtors, how we can help Pedro out scale his business, how you can help yourself scale your business, how I can help you scale your business. So we're going to talk to Pedro for about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes about his life, about his game plan, about his business model, see where we can help him out. And in return, we're going to open up the floor for you guys to ask whatever questions you might have. Anything. Doesn't have to be fix and flip. Doesn't have to be wholesale. Could be real estate. Could be life. Could be finances. We've gone through it all. We've gone through every single mistake. We've lost all the money. We've made all the money. We've lost properties. We've sold properties. We are here to answer any of your questions. We've lost clients. We've gained clients. We know exactly how to do everything in real estate. I didn't say we can do it good, but we know how to do it. And you could take your spin on it and make it your way, right? Before I forget, I have to do the shameless plug. We do have our school community. Go to www.school/real estate wholesale. We've somehow got that. Join the wholesale community because that thing's going to take off. We're going to start charging people in a minute, bro. That's how cool it's going to be. And then you can also join the DBR community as well because that is popping off left and right. There's deals in there. Both of those communities have deals flowing, people flowing. That's where the energy's at. Get in the community. Doesn't have to be mine. Find a community. Stick with it. Do what you got to do. But Pedro should be joining us. Tyler should be launching the Zoom shortly. So we'll see if Tyler does that. And then we can get some of the other real estate agents here. Let's take a poll. I have 13 people who – can we do a poll in here? Let me see if I can do a poll. Oh, I'm not. Can you do a poll? Oh, you don't have live. You're not logged in on the YouTube side. You could do a poll on YouTube, but I want to know who's an agent, who's not, who's just here, who's lurking, who's active, who's doing the deals, who's making shit happen, son. What's up, vacation time?
What question will be asked?
The question, are you an agent, wholesaler, or lurker? What are you, basically? What are you? Agent, wholesaler, lurker. Thank you, Tim Whitman. Thank you. My man Tim with the links, bro. Not even Jason got the links in the description. Come on. Dang, bro. He's got he's good. Jason's free. He's free from the wrath of Josh. All right, if you guys have questions, let me know. We're 6 minutes out. Ooh, he did the poll. Look at that. Look at that poll, bro. That poll looks dark. I like it. 5 votes. 5 votes already. Wow. That's pretty good. I am Tim. What's up, Mr. X? X gonna give it to you. We're gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. X is in the Michigan area. He is. Oh, we need audio. Do we have speakers? Yeah, we need audio because how are we gonna hear? Oh man, I'm so glad. If you want to do a laptop, that's fine. Yeah, I don't mind. I'm not fancy. I'm on the first day of the 5-day wholesale course. Nice. Let me know where you get stuck because we're seeing in our trial phase that people are getting stuck on day 1. So we're thinking we need to shorten day 1 and get the ball rolling into day 2 because that's where like the action starts. So make sure you finish day 1 so you can get to day 2 because that is where the money is going to make you the character, the person, the individual. But if you can't get past day 1, let me know because I will just unlock it because it's just not going to work on the drip, Jason. Okay? So let us know. What's up, alien from Mexico? Hello, I am America. I come from outer space. I just love the info. Awesome. We love you, man. We appreciate you being here, Mr. Lurker, Mr. Alien from outer space. What's going on, X in Michigan? How's the real estate market out there? Good, bad, ugly, not so good, not so bad, ugly, uglier. Real estate out here is kind of slow. We're probably on a 90-day days on market. First time in 6 years that the days on market has been 90 days plus. Pretty wild. And then 1 in every 4 transactions is canceling. And there's more inventory than ever before. So it's coming, baby. It's coming. Lots of options out there. What's up, Nate? For buyers to shop out with. And if you're a flipper, you better make sure yours stands out. So at the end of the day, we are here live and direct. Only 4 more minutes till the show starts. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. What are you guys working on? Give me some love. Give me some feedback. Is this my water? It is now. No, that's okay. I'll just drink yours, bro. You got it. Oh, candy. Give me one. Give me a candy too, bro. I need some sugar. I haven't had food all day. Ooh, no thanks. They're doing some training out there. I don't think we can turn around. God is good all the time. If he ain't, then you lying in the rain. What's up, X? We're on a 20-second delay. Dang, bro, what's up with these delays? I don't want no delay. Boo. Boo. X is in every part of Michigan. Ooh, the new Whoop. Dang, should I get the new Whoop? Nah. It's just like $300, bro. Train smarter, sleep deeper. Oh, I'll have both, baby. I'll have both. I need the water. Jason, shout out to Jason for the Mr. Goodbar. What is this? I haven't seen one of these in a minute. Mr. Goodbar. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. 18 people watching, 16 lights. That's a pretty good ratio, bro. That's a really good ratio. Yeah, where's Tyler? Tyler. Where are you? Yeah. Dinner is served, bro. Dinner is served. What's up? What's up, Eli? That's pretty good. Is that good or bad? 19 wholesalers, 12 agents. That's pretty good. I like it. I'm just chewing in the mic. What do you guys got planned this week? Anything good, Jason? Videos? Ooh, that's a status, Tim? Okay. He's got a back-to-back meeting. I'm going to roast him. Hopefully Pedro's not waiting. I don't have Pedro's cell phone number. I'm sure we can find it, but I've never spoken with the guy. So this is going to be fun. He seems to be me with tattoos. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Could be risky. He's got way more style than me. I'll tell you that. But we're going to get to know him, figure out his life, figure out his strategy, figure out everything about the guy in 30 minutes or less. So make sure you have your questions, okay? Because if you don't, you're going to embarrass me. So come up with questions right now, dude. Just come out. Heading to Alaska for a week, help a friend clean up his property and prepare for sale. All right. Sounds like fun vacation. What's up, Victor? What's up, baby? Yeah, this guy's pretty culty. Pedro would fit in the cult. Yeah. He would fit in it. You'd fit in it. We'll see. So it's going to be an open conversation. I don't have an agenda. I don't have a game plan. I'm just going to talk to the guy like a normal human being. How'd the stock market do today? I heard it's like up. Every post I see, the stock market added $22 trillion, $2.2 billion. All I know is my bank account didn't add shit today, okay? As long as you have a long term, you're good. All right, what else you guys want to talk about? Anything good? We got 1 minute. Oh, here we go, 4 o'clock. Ooh, okay. We got some best friends. Amir and Alex Xavier are now best friends. Stock market up on a Tuesday. Well, remember that song? That was a good song. That was old school. What year was that? Going up on a Tuesday. That was like 2020? 2018 maybe? No. Long-term cross back over 35K, so hopefully I can pursue. There we go. What's up, John Daniel? We got the Zoom launched or no? Not yet? Come on, Tyler. There's fucking people waiting, bro. Going up on Tuesday. I got an email. Let's see who the email's from. Have a fixer? Let's connect. I woke up at 3 this morning. Couldn't sleep. Bad dreams. Bad real estate. Loan mares. Crazy, huh? And then my dog couldn't sleep. My dog kept following me around at 3 in the morning. It's pretty crazy. The dog's worried about something. I don't know if it's me or he's worried about something. Pedro, where are you? We in a club on a Tuesday. All right, what do you guys want to talk about? Let me see where Tyler is. Did he start the Zoom?
Still says the host has another meeting.
Need more than one Zoom license. Yeah. Waiting on host. There we go. Are we live? I just can't see it on my screen yet. It's delayed. Tyler, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, let's do it. Where's Pedro at?
Let's do it. Pedro, I see Pedro.
All right, let the man in. Make him a co-host or whatever you got to do.
Co-host? Yeah. Well, yeah, let's kick it off. Sorry, I'm pushing like heck to make sure all your agents are like selling real estate here. So I was just helping one of your guys get a plan, and I think he saw it. So
Finally. I like it.
Let everyone in. I'm waiting for Pedro. He says joining. So
Okay, maybe he's got bad service. Let's see.
I guess we'll see. But you let me know. Should I let everyone in?
Yeah, let everyone in. Let's do it.
Okay.
Unleash Pedro. Can you put it on YouTube? Or it's coming?
Recording in progress.
Oh, there it is. All right.
All right.
Pedro's in the house.
We got Pedro.
Where is
in
he?
the house.
Pedro. Is he coming? Dang, everyone's coming. Look at that. Everyone's coming. That's what she said.
He's showing up, y'all. That's step number one.
There we go. We got 20
great
people on
success.
YouTube. We got how many people up in here on Zoom? We got a lot, man. All the people. Tim Whitman, Lauren's on the call. Oh my gosh. On deep, Amandeep. Is it? Did I say that right? That's your audio. He's connecting. I think this is the first time he's used Zoom in a while. He is.
We got a Zoomer in the house.
Look at the Zoomer. He's probably like, what is happening? This cult members. Oh, can you hear him? I can't hear him. Can you hear his audio?
Nope.
All right, Pedro, while you figure that out, I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to introduce you, okay? My name is Josh. This is Tyler Royke. Say what's up, Tyler.
What's up, Tyler?
Okay, perfect. Tyler is the herd leader. He's the person who's herding you guys in the right direction of success. He is with EXP, and he is the man, the myth, the legend. I've known Tyler for almost 8 years now, and
10 years.
10 years? Damn, bro. I just didn't want to age myself. Anyways, I've known Tyler since he was 19. How old are you now, Tyler?
I stopped counting.
Yeah.
I think I'm 32.
I'm 41 this year, so I know you're not older than me. So I was 30 when I met you, or 29. That's crazy. Now you're such a grown up. You got a house. You're married. You have 16 dogs. I remember that. You've bought a couple houses. So Tyler, I've known for a long time. I trust him, so you should trust him too with your real estate life. Fun fact: I was in Tyler's wedding as a understudy. Josh Answers was supposed to be in the wedding. Josh bailed last minute, made me go get cowboy boots. I've never wore cowboy boots, and I've never wore them again. I actually returned those once we got home. So fun. That's my fun fact about Tyler Royke. Tyler, thanks for coordinating all this. Did we lose Pedro? I see Pedro in the corner.
No, I'm here, man.
There he is. How are you, dude?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Good. So this is our first time actually speaking, is what I was kind of prefacing everyone with. You could be a crazy individual. You could be nice and calm. This is a curveball for me and everyone at home. But from what I know, You're a cool guy. I liken you to me. Like you're me with tattoos. You're just like a cooler version of me, I think. You got style, you flip homes, you got tattoos, you have a family. You're me, just cooler. So that's me introducing you, but you introduce yourself to the YouTube world, to the Zoom world. These are all agents, these are all wholesalers, these are a bunch of people. So trying to kind of give us like a 2-minute elevator pitch of who Pedro is.
You got it, man. Well, first and foremost, bro, I got to put it out there that I'm a big fan of what you do. I've been following you way before we even messaged each other, so I'm pretty excited to be here.
Nice, I appreciate
No problem, man. Style is subjective, so I don't know about that, but everything else that she said was absolutely true. I'm a family guy. I flip homes. It's funny, dude. I gotta mention this. I was quite literally going over invoices, wondering how I'm going to pay them, just like how the content that you put out today. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, man, I'm just I came to California about 9 years ago. I'm originally from New York. I was born in Brazil, spent most of my life in New York. Came out here on a cannabis cultivation license. And once that switched over to recreational, I decided to get into flipping homes. And here I am, flipping
Nice.
homes and suffering just like the rest of us during this
this
market that we're in.
market dump that we're experiencing. But so you have a
Yeah.
family. You're from Brazil. You were born in
Yeah.
Brazil?
Yeah, I was born in Brazil. I moved out of Brazil when I was 14 years old. I got to New York.
Nice.
So from that point forward, I have been in America.
And excuse my ignorance, you speak very good English. Like, what language do they speak in Brazil? Like, is English your
They
first
speak
language?
Portuguese. No. Portuguese was my first language. My aunt was an English teacher, so I learned textbook English when I was fairly young. But regular like Cat in the Hat, regular
Just like all
book
of us.
stuff. And then when I had moved to New York, that's when it switched over from Portuguese being my language of choice to English. So now today I speak English better than I speak Portuguese, but I still speak both.
Nice.
And yeah, man.
Talk to us about New York. So what part of New York? I know New York's, I mean, I've only been there for like field trips and like like a baseball game. I went to all the stadiums out there. But like, what's New York like? Where are you from in New York, and how was that kind of upbringing for you?
Yeah, bro. I lived in the city, so I was in I lived in Manhattan my entire time in New York. Uh, Man, how is New York? New York is like city life, right? So it's like that's like the biggest change from living in New York to California, right? Where at least where I live at. So here is all single family homes, whereas New York is all apartments. And a 1,200 square foot apartment in New York is what the equivalent of a 3,000 square foot home in California. So we're used to smaller spaces, city stuff. Rode the subway every day to school. Just delis and fucking
Pizza?
trying to not get mugged on my way home. Yeah, so it was a lot of that. Whereas California is, cars for everything. You got to get in your car to go to the store. You got to get in your car to go do this and that. Whereas New York is cars are just for preference, right? Like the last thing you need is a car. Cars is just, because you want to look cool or whatever. So, yeah, man. But still, East and West Coast, I think, are a lot similar as far as like the states that nobody really cares about, which is like the whatever, the Wyomings and all that other stuff. But a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences at the same time.
Nice. And so you lived out there from 14 to what age?
I got to, it's funny, man. I'm bad with age and years and stuff, but I was looking into this not too long ago. I think I have now been in California for 9 years.
Oh, nice.
So well, let's do the math here. I think I moved to California when I was 26, 27, and I am turning 35. So no, actually, no, I haven't been here for 9 years. So I moved to California when I was 26, I believe. and I am turning 35 in a couple of days. So it's been quite some time, a little short of 10 years.
Nice. That's crazy. And then where did you get, like, this is not even real estate related, but where did you get the style aspect? I'm guessing New York, where you like,
Yeah.
is that where like the style came from, and then tattoos and all that stuff? Like, where did you get this whole look from? I'm jealous. Like I said, I prefaced with I'm jealous. If I did anything you did to your body, my mom would probably kill me. And so I'm gonna stay away from that. I'll live through you. But where did that all originate from?
Bro, kind of organically. It's nothing I really put too much thought into. I think New York has a big fashion element to it, right? Like, so growing up, it was all about who had what, and you wanted the new Jordans and all of that stuff, right? And that kind of developed into something a little bit deeper, right? To where it's just like I started paying attention to clothing brands and creative directors, and I started to really develop like my own taste and my own you know fascination for fashion in general, right? So that's kind of where that came from. As far as like the whole tattoos thing, bro, that's just like almost like a fever. It's like you get one, and then one turns into another. I have a real addictive personality, bro, and I hear people say that a lot, but I challenge anyone to go head to head with me on addictive personalities. Like I cannot do anything with balance. Like it's all or nothing for me, right? So it's like I'm the guy that has a few tattoos. Like I could never be that guy. I could never be the guy that smokes a cigarette occasionally. Like I'm either smoking a pack a day or I'm not smoking. I'm either 5 a.m. cold plunge working out, or I'm just like lazy fat ass waking up at 11 p.m. Like I never was able to kind of be in the middle, right? So
Yeah.
talk about being jealous. Like the guy that can eat ice cream on a Saturday and then not eat sweets for another 5 days. Like I'm extremely jealous of that guy. So I guess that kind of was the thing, because just like you, man, like looking back at it, like if my talk about mothers, right? Like if my mother was to see, if at 16 years old, because my mother took me to get my first tattoo, so it's funny you mentioned that, right? So if
Dang.
like my mom were to be able to look into the future to the first day that we went to go get my first tattoo till now, and she was able to see how I look today, oh, she'd have a heart attack, bro. She hates it. Yeah, no, are you kidding me? Yeah, she's beaten me up a few times over this stuff, But I have one rule with her, and it's just I'm not going to tattoo my face. So as long as I don't do that, I think I'm in the clear. But yeah, I think that's where it all originated from, bro. Is just kind of growing up in New York, and just I guess a lot of the culture that was around us, right? Like the mecca of hip hop and fashion and all that stuff kind of permeated and became a part of my life.
Yeah. That's cool. I think and the reason I asked that, because I think it carries over into your style on video, on your YouTube videos for sure.
Sure.
And I've seen some of your flips. I think it carries over to your flips too. And that's kind of one of the things I think a lot of flippers kind of miss, is that design element. And I always make fun of it, but I end up being those flippers, right? It's the standard floors, the standard countertops,
black and white,
the grass, the sod, no design, no like real landscape. And they do it because of budgeting, right? It's just financially, that's where the world goes when you're a flipper. You go to the basics, the white shaker cabinets, the white quartz.
Right.
I don't like it. I hate it. But you add some sort of design, and I think there's some carryover with your personality in that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, bro. I definitely, try to add a few things, but at the same time, you got to stick to what works, right? Like I remember having a conversation about this to where it's like, I care a lot about like staging and certain things that, where I could add my little twist to it, but I got to be careful with that, because if you get too carried away, you start doing something that you may feel like is, looks good or whatnot, but you're kind of shrinking your buyer pool at the same time. I always felt like one of my like superpowers when it came to flipping was that I'm not too attached to this stuff, right? So like I would come home and my wife would be watching HGTV, or she's kind of all into that stuff. And it's almost like working at a restaurant and then you come home and your family's watching a cooking show. It's like the last thing you want to do is watch a cooking show after having, stood in the kitchen for the whole day.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of how I felt about it. Um, and I had no real like personal attachment to it. So any business that I've really done, I have no real personal attachment to, which could be a good or a bad thing. I hear a lot of people say, do what you're passionate about and stuff. And the truth is a lot of the businesses that I've done, I haven't necessarily had a passion for the actual product. So even going back to the whole cannabis cultivation thing, I was never like a pothead guy. Like I don't really, I'm not into smoking weed or anything. It was the business that I was introduced to, and I kind of ran with it when I was younger. And it was the same thing with the real estate thing. Like, I could vividly remember being in one of my grow houses and scrolling through my computer and a little ad popped up that was like, oh, you want to learn how to flip homes? And that's how I got into it. I just filled out one of those ads, and
That's crazy.
yeah, dude. And then one of those ads got me into one of these seminars, and it was a free seminar, and then that free seminar turned into a paid 3-day seminar. And then from that point I joined a mentorship program called Fortune Builders.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. Old school.
yeah, it's actually from San Diego. So
Yeah.
you might have heard of those guys, Than Merrill and them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, I joined that, and their whole thing was like, hey, we'll hold your hand through your first flip, right? So I was like, fuck, man, if I could do this cannabis thing, I'm pretty sure I could figure this out. And that turned into my first deal, and one turned into two. I mean, you know how that goes, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like once you do one, you're like,
You
okay,
keep going. Now you're doing 5
Yeah.
and you have no idea what just happened.
yeah, exactly.
And
That's
when was that
that's when the
first
fun
deal?
really
So
starts.
you how give us a timeline. That first deal was when?
It was like right around COVID, bro. I haven't been
Nice.
doing this for that long. I think I guess we're at 2025 already,
Yeah,
so
5
it's been
years.
5 years.
It adds up,
Yeah,
dude.
a
Yeah.
decent amount of time, right? But yeah, it was right around that time, because I was about to have my son, and I had a conversation with my lawyer, because my lawyer, I was doing everything as above board as you possibly could in the cannabis business, right? So I I remember my lawyer telling me, hey, Pedro, look, like the laws are about to switch. It's going to go from medicinal to recreational. So all the licensing was going to change. And it was like this huge process to go from the medical field to the recreational field.
Yep.
So, I kind of like weighed out the like amount of like energy and time and resources that I would have to put in to transition from medical to recreational. And I weighed that against any other business, right? And I was like, man, I feel like just the amount of effort that I'm gonna have to put into to do this transition, if I were to put that energy into anything else, I'll be okay, So yeah, I decided to switch over to the flipping thing, man. And in hindsight, I don't regret it whatsoever. Now, if you were to tell me how long it would have taken for me to get my first deal, I think I would have gotten a little disappointed. I don't have that story that you hear where guys, get their first deal within a couple of weeks or whatever, right? And my process was long and strenuous, bro, and filled with no's and rejection. And you remember
Yeah,
COVID,
yeah. Let's
right?
talk
Like,
about. I
fuck,
mean, that's
dude.
part of the journey, right? That everyone
Yeah.
here watching goes through that, whether they're an agent or a wholesaler or a
Mhm.
fix and flipper. It's the same journey. It's
Right.
just a different flavor of it, I think. And so
Correct.
rejection is key. And some people, like you said, get their deal within one phone call. I remember my first phone call I ever made cold calling. The seller obviously hung up on me, but he called me back because he felt bad or something, and we had a good conversation. Never closed, and then 3 months later, he ends up being my first deal.
Really?
Yeah, it's very interesting first ever cold call. But for you, like, what was your journey? Where did you face? What was the rejection like? I'm sure going back and remembering that story will help everyone understand
Man.
the pain, but also for us to
Yeah.
just remember where we started, right? We're dealing with bigger problems now than
Yeah.
back then, and it's cool to just think about that. So tell us
For sure.
what happened back then. Give us a timeline.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad you're talking about this, man, because I genuinely feel like this might give people some hope out there. So, um, okay, I see. I don't know your story too, man. I'd like to, kind of pick your brain too, because when I got into real estate, like I said, I knew nothing. So my learning curve was ridiculous, right? So I had experience with business because I had a successful cannabis cultivation business, and we did very well with that. But it's a complete different business, right? So I knew nothing about real estate, so I'm learning from scratch. Like I don't know what an ARV is. I don't know anything, right? uh, at all. So so we got to start with that context. Uh, so from that point, from when I had first joined Fortune Builders to not knowing nothing at all, I think it took me like 8 to 9 months to get to my first
Jeez.
deal. Right. So yeah,
crazy.
dude, it took a long time, man. Well, at least it felt like a long time.
Yeah.
And I was active too. Like because you would meet some people that would join the mentorship program and they would like keep their old job and maybe on the weekends they do a little bit of studying, put an offer out. Like, no, I hit the ground running, bro. Like I gave it
That's good.
genuinely my all,
Yeah.
And I got lucky in a sense because I had met this one guy that was doing a lot of business in my area, and he had just moved to Florida. And I credit this guy with, a lot of my success because he genuinely helped me, a mentor of mine. And he literally coughed up all his connections because he had moved to Florida anyways. So it was like, well, what the hell, I might as well give this kid my, my connection. So he gave me like, I don't know, like a handful of agents, right, to reach out to. He connected me with a hard money lender, and he connected me with 3 contractors. So, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I hit the jackpot. I have all these guys. Like, how hard could this be, kind of thing. And the thing is that the agents that he gave me, these guys went on to, become experienced agents that were kind of flipping themselves, right? So it's like, it seems like a good thing when a guy gives you this experienced agent, but I'd argue that if you're starting off, you kind of almost want to find an agent that is, not necessarily just starting off maybe, but is in his growing phase, right? Because it's like how much value can you really add to an agent that's flipping homes himself and stuff. Like they're going to keep all the good deals for themselves anyway. So so this guy gives me these connections. I kind of stumble around and take a mixture of his connections and people that I meet in RIA meetings, agents that I've met on Facebook, and I just start submitting offers, man. And you would remember this vividly, bro, because COVID was insane. Like it was to the point where it's just like you would join these mentorship programs and they would kind of teach you what putting in offers would look like, right? Like what's your maximum allowable offer, and you probably shouldn't go higher than this and this and that. But homes were selling for such an asinine price that like whatever offer I would put in, as aggressive as I thought it was, somebody would just offer like 100 grand more, 80 grand more, so it was just like constant rejection, bro. It was insane, and it was just discouraging. It was just like you would submit some offer and you'd be like, oh, I know this one is it. And for whatever reason, I just kept, I mean, we know the reason. I just kept getting rejected and rejected and rejected and rejected. And when you're first starting off, bro, the lowest hanging fruit is MLS, right? Because it's like direct to seller, you have to invest a whole bunch of money, right? If you want to do like the mailers and the ads and all that stuff. And it's like when you're first starting out, let's say you do invest all that money and someone does call you, you don't even know your head from your own ass at that point. So it's like, what's the point of having some seller that's motivated call you? You really don't know what you're doing, right? So, to at least the way I see it, the lowest hanging fruit is MLS. So now I'm submitting a bunch of offers through the MLS, but I'm getting overbid, overbid, overbid. And then I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm going to have to just overpay here. Like, my train of thought was, well, I paid $30,000 for this education program, right? So I'm negative $30,000. So if I do a deal and I lose money, I'm pretty sure this deal that I lose money on is going to teach me far more than this course has ever been able to teach me through these videos, right? So that's kind of like the mindset that I had to get into. Like, you know what? Like, I need to get my feet wet, right? And so I started offering a little bit more aggressive, and I eventually I ended up getting one. Like, they say it's like it's a numbers game. It's like, and that's really true. Like I submitted so many offers that it just became unreasonable that I wouldn't get a deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's like at some point this has got to give, man. And I remember vividly when it hit, you know what I'm saying? And it was like this feeling of like, you're kind of excited because, an offer got accepted, and but at the same time you like, I don't know if people can relate to this. You ever submit an offer and like you kind of like low key hope it doesn't get accepted, because if it does, you're like, fuck, now I got to perform, And it's like, I remember that feeling, but I was like, you know what, man, I got to do it. And I did it. And it was an absolute nightmare. Like the contractor that I had gotten was just like, bottom of the barrel, fucking not licensed, and just, like,
Cash.
oh, dude. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
receipts,
Oh, dude, think about it. I'm
Home
coming from the
Depot
cannabis
trips.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm paying everything with cash
Yep.
to this guy, and his subcontractors are coming up to me and they're going, hey, we haven't gotten paid yet. And I'm all like, what do you mean, bro? I just gave this guy 15,000. Oh, he went to go gamble it or whatever. Oh, dude, it was such a nightmare. But
Yeah.
somehow, some way, I pulled it off. I made about like, I don't know, 15,000, some, like a decent amount. But and I remember that deal vividly. It was in Fontana, which is a little city out here in the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
And then from that deal, again, you hear those stories, right? It's like you get the first deal and then everything gets easier after that point. That was, again, not my story. So 9 months into putting in a whole bunch of offers, I get my first deal. I do that deal. I end up pulling it off despite doing everything wrong. And then it takes me another, I don't know, man, like 4 or 5 months to get my second. And then I knock out my second, right? And then the third and the fourth kind of started to compile. Like by the time I got to the third and fourth, they got a little bit closer to each other. And then things kind of started to pick up, to where it's just like they started getting a little bit closer to each other, and they started to like, kind of like lump into one timeline, to where I'm not just doing one finishing selling, another finishing selling. They just kind of started to compile. And then and then man, and then it's still a fucking roller coaster ride. You feel like you got it figured out, and then you get hit with something, and then it's just, but it's definitely like you just said, it's different problems now. But that's how my whole situation started. That first one was really hard to get. Second one was, if not just as hard, maybe a little less hard, and then it starts to get a little bit easier. But yeah, dude,
that's awesome. That's a very similar kind of core. I've been in real estate for a long time, so this is year 22 for me. So I got licensed at 19 years old, 18, 19 years old, in between there. And my dad was a broker. He forced me into real estate. I didn't want to do college. Wasn't like a troubled youth or anything. I just didn't want to do college. I just wanted to make money. My problem was the deal came too easy. My first real estate transaction was for my best friend. I made 30 grand at 18.
Wow.
And it was all downhill from there. And the transactions were, I probably did 3 deals a year, 4 deals a year, picked up the pace, did 10 years. So I was making bank. Investing in real estate left and right. And then the real estate crash happened in 2008. And it kind of reminds me of now, right? Like, luckily for me, I've been through 2008, 2012, 2020.
Right.
So I've been through it all, and they all have their different feelings. I don't know why this feeling feels a lot worse than 2008, because I feel like 2008, everyone kind of felt it, and it was like, hey, it is what it is. But this one, I'm almost on like an island. Unless I'm talking to guys like you, no one else is feeling the pit. We're not losing lots of jobs out there. The economy seems, based on the media that we always believe, that it's still pumping. There's things happening around the world, but it's not like 2008 where it was like all at once, where everything was done. Like COVID, 2020, everyone felt it. This is sort of like a different feeling where you're on an island, you're trying to figure out what's next. But it reminds me of when I was first starting out in the flipping world. Same story. Like, you're getting rejected left and right. Real estate world, you're getting rejected left and right. You're a wholesaler, you're a real estate agent, you're just starting out. You have to get your footing with that first deal. You have to be committed to not only excellence, but the commitment that you made yourself that you're going to get that one deal.
Yeah.
And it goes back to your like your personality, right? You have an addictive personality, and I think everyone needs that in real estate to a certain extent. I think you need to be
Right.
addicted to the pain, the struggles, and then the success at the end of the day. And then trying to figure it out through there. COVID was a boom, right? Everyone was making money.
Yeah.
2020, 21, 22.
Yeah.
There was no way you couldn't make money in those markets.
Yeah. There's no mistakes,
Yep.
right? Like you couldn't make a mistake, bro. I remember guys, they would violate everything that I was taught in this goddamn mentorship program. You know, like they would offer more. I remember this dude, bro. I never forget it. He used to do flips in Palm Springs, and he would say such dumb shit. Like he would be like, "Oh yeah, I'll just add a pool. Yeah, I'll just add a pool. So what's that gonna cost? 50 grand? Yeah, but it looks nice, you know, Palm Springs. I'll just add a pool." And you're just like, bro, you're like on month 4 of this project. Like, what are you doing? You know, I'll just ask for an additional 50 grand. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, this guy's he's gonna eat shit. You know, like he's gonna end up doing bad. Sorry, not the curse, but you know. And then I remember he ends up selling it for like the amount that he said he was gonna sell it for. And I was like, what the hell? You know, like that wasn't supposed to work out that way. And you would have guys overpay, and they'd be like, oh yeah, well it ended up working out. And I remember thinking to myself when interest rates started to shoot up, I was like, all these guys that made all these mistakes and got bailed out, like we're about to find out who's really doing things right, you know?
Yeah.
And dude, I could talk to you about this for days because I'm so curious to like what's your opinion on all of this, because I didn't go through 2008. Like I was a street kid in New York, fucking doing things I probably shouldn't have been, not probably, doing things I definitely shouldn't have been doing. And you know, I was in a complete different world. So I don't know what that felt like, right? But I could tell you this, like, while there are deals of mine that, you know, are sitting longer than usual, and, you know, there are deals that, you know, that we've lost some money on, but the deals that we've lost some money on are always like paired together with certain deals that we're doing really well on. Dude, I just sold 2 deals that I did really well on. That sold for, you know, bro, I just sold a deal that when I was looking at it, the wholesaler was trying to tell me that the after repair value was 600. I was like, there's no fucking way this thing sells for 600, 580, 575 tops. This thing sold for 630, bro. And I'm like, you know, that's strange. Like, that's not really what's, you know, happening as of right now. And then same thing, like sold another small little home here in San Bernardino. Well, let me not jinx myself. It's in the middle of closing, but you know, we're like at the finish line, literally a few days, buyers committed, sold off market for 450. I would have never thought this thing would sell for 450. It was like a 420 ARV all day long.
Yeah.
So it sold. Yeah. Knock on wood for sure. This guy wrote. So, yeah, let me not get ahead of myself.
But I guess the point, I mean, how did you stick to the book on those? Did you do what you were supposed to do?
I'm doing the same thing that I've always done, bro. Like I told you, like I'm someone that I've woken up at the same time for like the last 3 years, every single day without missing a day. Like I eat the same fucking thing every morning. Like I'm like that, bro. Like I don't stray away from what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So I'm not doing anything different.
Yeah.
And I'm a believer in our business model. Like I'm not doing any flips that are too crazy. Like I would see certain projects that you pick up, bro. I'm like, God, you got some balls, bro. Like you would pick up projects that like have, you know, crazy foundation issues and stuff like that. I've dealt with certain foundation issues. Like you can't be too picky in Southern California, right? Like, cause you know, a unicorn deal where everything is perfect is not going to come around all the time. So I deal with, you know, cities and all the stuff that scares most investors. But at the same time, like I like to be in and out of my projects. I like to do my construction, and I've seen yours, and I think we have that in common, to where it's like you're knocking them out fast too. So I would meet certain investors and they're like, you know, day 75 of construction. I'm like, bro, I don't even know what that looks like. Like I'm in and out 30, 45 days, you know? And if my deals take a long time, it's because they're sitting on the market. It's not because my guys aren't working on them or whatever. So I'm doing the same thing, bro. I'm so curious to kind of see how this thing plays out, because I'm committed, bro. Like I'm, you know, when me and you were kind of changing messages this morning, and you were talking about your last flip or whatever. Maybe you're gonna take a
Oh yeah, I
break or
posted that
kind
it
of
was my
pivot.
last. Like I think the market
Yeah, what's up
is.
with that, bro?
Well, I've made
That is it really
every,
your
and
last?
I'll be transparent with everyone here. I've made every
Yeah,
mistake in the book. You're the exact opposite, right? Where you're sticking to the game plan. I've been
yeah,
forced in some situations to make bad mistakes because I wanted to roll with the punches or I didn't want to lose a deposit. But those are
yeah.
all terrible mistakes, or I didn't price it right on the market. I have 3 or 4 homes that are sitting, no offers. I bought a house in Claremont, San Diego, on the street called Mount Everest,
Uh-huh.
860, flipped it pretty quickly. This was like November, during the worst time to
Hmm.
list. Flipped it quick, sold it, good. Congratulations, I did well. I then said, hey, let me buy another house 3 doors down. Let's run the same play. Let's run it back, right?
Yeah,
Let's.
yeah, yeah.
It's still on the market, believe it or not. So something shifted between November and now in the market to
Yeah.
where it's just not moving. So did I make a mistake purchasing another flip on the same block? Maybe.
I would no. Should change that. It's outside of your control, right? Like,
But is it?
fuck.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Something had to happen that I wasn't paying attention to during that time. I just got so distracted with that I took the opportunity, and I probably could have passed and waited for another juicier deal or waited for
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something to trick. But it was there, and I took it. Some of the other major projects where it's like adding 2 ADUs, those holding costs are just nuts. And I teamed up with a
Yeah, like I don't do
contractor.
that, bro.
Yeah,
ADUs, like I don't know how you guys are pulling
this is
that
my
off.
first one, and it's not going well because the contractor's
Yeah.
taking their time. The goal was to flip the first 2 units because it was a
Uh-huh.
2 unit house, clean those up, get the tenants out, clean them up, get renters in there, rent it out so it can cover our nut. And
Hmm.
it hasn't happened yet. They're still working on the first 2 units. This is 6 months later. 6 times 6,000 a month. That's $36,000 in just interest
Yeah,
that we're
man.
paying. And so
Those interest
hopefully,
payments creep up,
yeah,
right?
and that's the biggest thing I learned. Holding costs is killer.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's the biggest murderer of all these wholesale deals. And I look at the profit and loss probably a little too late, and you end up losing so much money in interest. So
Yes, bro.
no
You're
more
so right.
tenants, no more ADUs, no more larger projects for me. If it's juicy, I'll take it. But for the most part, I'm a firm believer now that we have to wholesale 50 to 75% of the deals that come in.
Is that right?
I'm going to say no
Yeah, I
to
mean, it's
every
less
single
risk,
deal
right?
and just
Yeah.
get cash flow. Even if I'm wholesaling one deal a month, that's in San Diego, those wholesale deals are 25, 30 grand. I can
Oh,
make
bro.
some decent money. I've paid wholesalers 50 grand for some of my deals before.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me
So
too. What? I
yeah.
paid wholesalers amounts that like you wouldn't even fucking believe, man.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even believe. I paid wholesalers, bro. I had a deal one time where the wholesale fee was so ridiculous that escrow companies would not take the deal because they were afraid of like some
I bet.
legal blowback.
Yeah.
Like, you believe that?
Yeah.
You know, escrow, not just one, like 2 or 3 of them. They're like, nah, this wholesale fee is so crazy. Like, you're taking advantage.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And then even me, I'm like, I don't want no parts of this, bro. You guys are gonna have to double close, or we're gonna have to give this lady some more money, like, you know.
Yeah.
But man, I'm just so, because when you had told me that, it gets me thinking too. Because my whole thing is like, I, the idea of starting something else over, that scares the shit out. Like, I can't do that, bro. Like, I can't go back to round one. Like, I'm already in round, 6, 7. Like, I've already taken my punches. Like, the idea of stepping outside of the ring and being like, oh, do over. Like, let me start something else. I guess in your case, you're not necessarily going to something completely different, right? You're just kind of
I'm not going
pivoting your
anywhere.
exit
I'm still
strategy.
going to flip,
You
but
know,
it needs to be a higher percentage of wholesales. And the
Mhm.
mistake I made there is I transitioned to wholesale, say 6 months ago, teamed up with the wrong. So I'm telling you, I'm making every wrong decision. Teamed up with the wrong wholesale group. And there was no action, right? I paid a premium for leads and I invested in the business, and there was just the buyers vanished. The guy didn't execute like he was supposed to. And so now I'm like, okay, the lessons here, you don't need to scale anything. I don't know why scaling fast is in anyone's equation. Do the one wholesale a month, make the 5 to 15 grand a month, do the one flip a quarter, make your 30 to 45. Like, there maybe it's lifestyle, but you got to trim your lifestyle down and focus on the one.
Well, it's the addiction, I think, right? It's
Yeah.
like you think to yourself, if one works, you're like, well, what if I could do it twice? What if I could do it 3 times? What if I could do it 4? What if I could do it 5? You know, that's at least how I think.
Oh
And
yeah.
when we were talking about that, right, bro, I spent a lot of time driving today from, you know, project to project and escrow and stuff. And what me and you had spoken about in the morning was like on the top of my mind. I was thinking about it the whole day almost. And when you were talking about, you know, like being cash poor, right? You're like, dude, like, you know, dude, any investor that's doing multiple deals can relate to that. Like, there's no way you're an investor and that doesn't resonate, right? And I was thinking to myself, I don't know if that's necessary. I think that's like a money management problem, because I have the same problem, right? Because in my mind, I'm going, you know, if I had the discipline to put away $100,000 and say to myself, this $100,000 I will not touch. This is just for security, for my family, for this. But then what ends up happening is this project comes along, and you're like,
Yep.
you know, oh, this one's a good one. You know, like you're just like kind of like, oh man, like, well, I do have that 100 grand tucked. I could, you know, I don't need a private money lender on this one, and you know,
Yeah.
I'll just fund it myself. And then before you know, you take that risk because you're going, oh well, you know, so and so project's going to sell, and when those sell, I'll take that money and put it back. And you start kind of, you know, rationalizing, and then you know what, the so and so project that was supposed to sell, buyer falls out of escrow, and then you're like, oh well, you know, shit, you kind of just like stuck. And you know what you said, dude, like that was one of the main lessons that I learned too, is holding costs, bro.
Yep.
Because when you do one flip, what's the holding cost on that? You know, like I don't know what exactly your purchase prices are. I have a feeling you guys deal with higher end
They're
purchase
like
prices, but
800,000. 800,000.
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of beast, bro.
Yeah.
That's kind of beast.
That's about
like I'm doing like
$6 to $7 a month just in.
that's what I'm
costs.
saying, bro. And that's one, right? That's one house. My monthly payments, bro, they're looking around like 3-4 grand, right? So it's like when you're doing these flips, you're thinking to yourself like, well, what's 3-4 grand? You know, like, I mean, I don't want to sound privileged here, but it's just like I could, you know, 3-4 grand, you could kind of figure some shit out. You know,
Yeah,
you could sell some stuff. Like you
Yep.
could do something real quick to just kind of whip that up. Like God forbid you don't have that money to make the payments. But when you got 10 projects going on, that 4,000 just turned into 40,000.
Yep.
Like that's not nothing you could just whip out of thin air, you know? Like, so these actually become real live problems. And I learned that too, because I would never considered, you know, holding costs to be like an issue, right? So it's like now I'm, you know, on the 10th or on the 1st, depending on the deal, I look at my bank account and it looks like it drastically changes. And you're like, oh,
Yep.
like this might be a problem here, you know? So I learned that as well. But I think what we have to do with that is just to be more disciplined with our money, right? And then
Yeah,
just
it's
kind
our
of not,
money. It's other people. I mean, I've been blessed to have good investors, but they want to get their
Yeah.
money back. I mean, they're tied up. They
Yeah.
seem to not be so confident anymore as well, because they're gonna lose.
Yeah, me too,
they're
man.
gonna lose with you on some of these deals, and they've lost with me, and they're not happy at the end of the day. And it is what it is. But they're starting to get tighter. But I spoke with a couple flippers out here, and that's what they told me. They're like, you can't stop working. You need the earned income somehow, whether that's in real estate
Yeah,
or
man.
mortgages or insurance or a job. You need the earned income, because that's what's going to pay your bills. If you stop receiving income, you're going to get just dried up on the fix and flip side, because that's going to take a lot of cash.
Yeah.
And if you're not using other people's money, that's your money. And so that's what I need to slow down on. We need to start a fund. The fund's coming. Once that gets more established, I just can't use any of my own money because it's all tied up in these properties. It's not fair to me, one, to eat a hot dog 2 or 3 times a week.
I hear
at
you,
Costco.
bro. I
know
you.
I joke around about it, but that's literally $1.50.
Yeah.
I'd
There's an element
rather
of
eat
truth.
that,
You're like,
and then my kids can still eat type thing. Not that it's that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
drastic, but I'm not going to go spend $30 on lunch anymore like I used to. Have
I
a
hear
nice
you, bro.
beer and a salad. Like, that's how bad the spending was in 2022, 21. Like, you could do whatever you want during those periods, but now it's like no more scaling. Tighten up the pocketbooks. Make sure we do things the right way. And I think that's where you win, right? You're sticking to the plan that you learned in the Fortune Builders. And
Yeah.
that's what I want to teach people more of. Here's what we did wrong and what we've done wrong in the last 24 months. Do the opposite, right? Here's the fortune builder model. This is what we're doing. This is your max allowable. Don't go over this. If it doesn't fit and you can wholesale it, wholesale it. That's what I'm going to preach. That's what I'm going to do as well. I just can't take on every single deal. Every deal looks good until it's not. That's the problem.
Well, no, dude, I think that's solid, bro. Like, I think scaling right now, and you know, it's like my mentor, like my number one guy, that guy that gave me all my connections, he was telling me the same thing. So I'm with you, bro. Like, people are tightening up. I have, I've never had a private money lender lose with me just because I would cover it. Like, if at least you know, I'm saying that, but I haven't, you know, I don't know what I would do, right? It's almost like when people tell you, like, oh, if that were to happen to me, I would have never let that happen to me. It's like the guy, your friend, you know, you tell him about like a bar fight or whatever, and he's like, if I was there, I would have kicked everyone's ass. You know, you're like, bro, like, shut up, like, you weren't there, you know. So like, I don't know what that really feels like, but you know, I all my private money lenders too, man, they're just kind of like, hey, you know, we're gonna kind of let the dust settle a little bit, and but I'm you know, I'm not necessarily scaling, bro, but I'm finding deals right now to be a little bit more profitable too. But I think you're right. Like, I'm not taking a deal that I would have taken in, you know, a year ago. That's for sure. Like, my deal's got to actually have a good amount of meat on the bone for me to be able to take it. Because I was just like you. I was taking deals to just kind of like keep the momentum, right? Like the idea of not having a deal was scary as hell to me, and it still kind of is. Like, you know, the idea of not having my guys working scares me more than, you know, doing a quote unquote bad deal. So, you know, I'm still going to keep my flips going, but at the same time, I'm not in the mindset of like, I'm going to double down and do twice as much, you know, but so I'm kind of with you on that. But
you always have to be moving forward. Like, I don't want everyone to take it like, okay, you're just stop. You're not going to flip anymore. You always have to have something going on. You just don't need 5 of them at the same time.
And you're pivoting, right?
Yeah.
You're just pivoting your exit strategy, right? You're focusing more on wholesaling, right? So it's not like anything different, right?
And
you ever notice how
you have to stick with the plan. I mean, with fix and flip, stick with your plan. In and out, no holding cost. You've got to reduce your holding costs. With wholesale, same thing. You got a contract. Don't try to make 50,000. Make 20. Make 10. Get that contract out. Close in 2 weeks. Bring the cash in. Pay the bills. Stash away some money for future things. But same thing with wholesale. If you're a real estate agent, same thing. You're out there. You got to work. You got to stop buying leads. You got to go do the old school stuff. Go door knock. Do the open houses. Do what you can to generate the earned income, and then go invest your cash. But stick to the plan. Like, you can't just freeball it anymore like I was in 2020, 21, 22, 23, and then some parts of 24. Holding a property and turning it into an Airbnb sounds cool on YouTube, but it's not. I'll tell you that right now. Whoever's telling you to, hey, go refinance, rinse, repeat, turn it into a short-term rental, that it doesn't work.
Not in California, right? I think the purchase prices are too high. And with the interest rates where they're at,
interest is too high.
It doesn't make sense.
You miss a month of bookings, you're down 10 grand.
Right.
Like, I don't think it works anywhere, to be honest with you, like long term. It could work with like a long-term renter in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
But you're talking 150 grand purchase price. That doesn't even exist anymore in some parts of the country. So it sounds all fun and dandy in real estate on YouTube, but it's just, you got to stick to the plan. I always hear people say, oh, have a buy box. I used to laugh at that. Now I'm like, dude, you have a buy box and a timeline box. Like, you're not listing things November, December, January, which means you can't buy anything after August. So after August,
isn't that interesting?
You can't buy anything because you're going to sit on it during those slow months. So you have to say no to everything from August to December, basically.
Or unless you put that into your timeline, right?
Yeah,
dude, that's so interesting. You said that because I was considering doing that. I was considering just, you know, adding that to my timeline, right? So it's like, if I'm gonna buy something in those months, I would then, you know, add that to the timeline. I don't know. Oh yeah, and then from that point forward, you know, I would hold it, because what ends up happening is, and you know this better than anyone, right? Like if you list a property and that thing sits on the market, like days on market, fuck that will kill your deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like for whatever reason, if you have a house and that thing is perfect and all the finishes are immaculate and everything about it is, you know, it's priced correctly and everything. But if for whatever reason buyers see, you know, 60 days on market, 80, whatever, right? Whatever is considered to be long in your market, because 60 days in California is like, what the hell is wrong with this house? You know, now every buyer is going into your house, and what they're doing is that they're literally looking for the reason why this house has not sold, right? So imagine these people are walking into the house and they're quite literally focusing on anything that could be wrong with it, right? They're like looking for things that are wrong with it. Whereas, you know, if you do things correctly and you list the property and you get a whole bunch of people there, buyers are walking in, they're seeing, you know, 10, 20 families inside your open house, and they're going, oh my God, like this is a nice house, you know, and then they're going to come with their highest and best. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, dude. I'm going to have to re-strategize too. Like cause I had the same thing that you're describing happen to me. You know, I have had some houses that kind of sat for a little while, and despite them being, you know, these great houses that, you know, are immaculate in construction and they're priced aggressively, and, you know, all of the indicators for, you know, a good sale are there. But since they have sat for, you know, whatever, 60 days, 30 days, 45 days, they're just not selling, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. Like I'm just kind of like perplexed. Like I don't know exactly what the answer to that is, right? But I have my thing is, and dude, I seen you post about this to where it's just like what you did, and you're like, you pivoted, you know, like it's almost like you were just trying different things, you know, like you didn't stay quiet, and that's what I did. I took your advice from that. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do different stuff. Like I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna raise the price. I'm gonna go door knocking. I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna just do a bunch of different things, right? With the mindset of like, you know, that age old saying, which is like the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I was like, well, I need some different results. So let me just do a bunch of different stuff. Right. And I went ahead and I did that, and it worked, man. You know, these houses that were kind of sitting for a little while ended up getting into escrow, and, you know, some of them sold, some of them are in the middle of selling. But, and you know, hey, maybe we lost a little bit of money on some, which we made up on the other ones that ended up doing well. But I'm still hopeful, man. I really am. I'm still hopeful. I think the strategy works. I think if you stick to the type of deals that you're accustomed to doing, and just like how you said, you kind of tighten up and you do what you're used to doing, then you know you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right?
And
It's
just structuring your buy box, timeline box,
yes.
no ADU plays, no
No.
construction jobs, nothing that takes longer than 60 days, whether that's in wholesale or
Mm-hmm.
in flips. If it takes longer than 60 days, it's not worth. I mean, I have a wholesale deal that we're doing right now that's a short sale, and it's a disaster. It's a time suck for 10 grand in Houston. It's like, okay, I appreciate it, but it's taking so long that it's not even worth. It's taking the manpower, the interest alone from my manpower is ruining other deals and ruining the flow.
Yeah.
So the velocity of time is huge as well, along with money. So you got to keep things moving consistently every 30 to 60 days. And maybe I have to be in a different market, because San Diego, I mean, it's expensive to flip a house. You're talking 30 grand
Right.
closing costs. You're talking 10 grand a month holding costs. Construction is sky high through here, and you're negotiating
Mm-hmm.
constantly with different contractors and switching just to keep pricing honest with people. So maybe it's shifting entire markets and going to like your market, right? Teaming up with a guy like you who already has a footing there, and saying, all right, 300 grand house, I could do that every single day of the week. And
Yeah.
looking for big profits, right? The houses here are big profits, but I just sold one and we broke even.
It's the lane as you hit the blinker.
Oh, who's that? Mute that guy.
Trayvon, please stay muted.
But at the end of the day, like, that's the goal. Stay focused. I think wholesaling and fix and flips will still be profitable. You just got to stay in your
For
lane.
sure.
Stay in your box.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
Don't do too many at a time. That's with everything. I mean, you don't want too much food at a table. Like, buffets kill me. I love buffets, but it's too much. Like you can't.
Yeah, not the time for it.
I'd
right?
rather go in and out. You got 3 options to pick from. You
Yes.
you pick the same thing every time. You know it's going to be good. You're going in, good customer service. Same thing with wholesale and fix and flips. Do 1 or 2 a month and just chill. Don't scale above and beyond. Leave that for the big boys at the end of the day. Make your money and get out. We talked for an hour, which is crazy, Pedro. We didn't even let everyone ask any questions. So if anyone has any questions, Tyler, be the moderator here. Let them raise their hands, and we can give them the mic. But give us some tips on what you're seeing in the market as a real estate agent. There's probably 50 agents in here somewhere. What are you looking for, and how can they better serve you and other investors in their market?
So what am I looking for from agents?
Yeah, as an investor, what are you looking for so agents can learn and like service investors in their market, and you as well? Like if they see anything in your area, they'll send you the deals.
Oh, for sure. Bro, I heard this one guy tell me one thing about agents, and I'll never forget it. He said something that like always resonated with me. He goes, there are 3 types of agents. There are agents that work with investors. There are agents that don't work with investors. And there are agents that think they want to work with investors because, if you're logical and you think to yourself, like, if I was an agent, I would want to work with an investor, right? Why? An investor is going to buy multiple properties, right? So like you could essentially just make a living off of one investor. The amount of closing of commissions that I've paid in agents is asinine. It gets to a point where every year I think to myself, man, maybe I should get licensed. You look at how much money you coughed up in commissions. Now, why I don't get licensed is because I think to myself, well, the amount of energy and time that I'd have to put into being a good agent, let me just use that time and energy into finding more deals, right? Because that's what I'm good at. So I never end up getting licensed. But I think, if you're logical as an agent, you would go, I want to work with investors, right? Because I could, with that same guy, he could buy 3 houses just with me in 1 month, and then I'll get the back end listing if I play my cards right, right? And that's another 3 commission. So you start to kind of look at it like that, and you're going, oh yeah, working with an agent, with an investor is way, way better, right? But on the flip side, working with an investor kind of sucks, man. Like it's a lot of offers, right? That you got to put out, and it's a lot of rejection, and it's not easy dealing with an investor. So it's it kind of has its benefits and its and the kind of the hard stuff that comes along with it. But as far as what I look for in an agent, back in 2020 or 2021 or 2022 when the market was real crazy, I would always tell agents, hey, you bring me a deal, I'll let you relist it with me, right? Because I was so eager to get more deals sent to me. But I started to regret that saying because, back in those times, if you were to just list a property, it would sell for over list price, right? Like listing agents had it real easy. So you could tell anyone, hey, relist the property for me, and you would feel comfortable that it would all be okay because the market was so hot.
Yep.
But what ended up happening to me is that I would get these agents to relist properties for me, and it turns out that the agents didn't know what they were doing, right? And then now my properties are sitting, and selling a property isn't as easy as it used to be. So I kind of fell back off of that strategy. So now what I tell agents is, hey, you bring me a deal, I'll consider relisting it with you, right? As long as you do it the way that I want you to do it. And what does that mean? Well, my open houses have to be set up a certain way, right? We have to market the property a certain way. So there's a lot more like, micromanaging per se, right? So like I have this team of agents that I work with, and, they do things the way I like them to be done. So if you want to work with investors, trying to, I guess, give advice to agents is, I guess really focus on your craft, right? Look at the top agents in your area, see what they're doing to sell homes, because selling a home today is a lot harder than it used to be, bro. Like selling a home today actually requires skill. I know agents that during those times of like the hot market, they pump themselves up, and they're, posting content on how great of agents they are, and it's like all of those guys are just gone in the wind, bro. Like the actual good agents are still doing the work. They're still moving home, so there is still business to be done, but it's a lot more difficult. And as far as like bringing deals to investors, I would try to understand how an investor looks at a deal, right? So I would encourage getting a good deal analyzer, and more than that, right? Like understanding what calculations a deal analyzer is actually doing, right?
Yep.
Like how to come up with accurate after repair values, right? After repair values are supposed to be, as objective as possible, right? So you can't look at a deal and try to make the numbers work. Like the after repair value, it is what it is. So when you try to start to inflate after repair values to try to make a deal make sense, like that's where you're messing up.
Yep.
Like a deal either makes sense or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's fine. The adjustment has to be made in the purchase price, not in the after repair value. And you have to learn how to look at the deal through the eyes of an investor, right? Get good at figuring out what renovations are going to cost, like, right? So maybe I'm getting a little too ahead of myself.
No, I think that's all good. I think basically
much,
education is huge from a real estate standpoint. If you're not in the mindset of an investor, you're not going to win their trust over. Bring them some sort of value other than the deal, right? If it's already a pre-analyzed deal that makes sense and someone presents it to me, man, I'm giving that person a hug. I'm taking them out to lunch. They're getting like, I don't even care at that point because that's just like a slam dunk. But to your point, it's a different market, right? You have to do more than just provide the deal these days. And that's educating yourself and being ahead of the market, right? Maybe pre-selling that thing to a group of buyers or going to open houses as an agent and finding buyers. Like I had an open house at one of my flips. I coached the agents. I gave them a list of all my upcoming flips. So they're pitching these off-market deals. So not only does that make them look good to these random open house people, but they're pre-selling my flips that are coming up. So if you're not doing those small things as a realtor, talk to every investor and get their flips that are coming to market soon, whether it's 3 months from now or 2 weeks from now. Talk to the investors, say, hey, I'm doing an open house in the area. I saw that you're flipping this home. Can I market it to any potential open house clients? The answer is yes. Now you're earning their trust without really bringing them a deal. They're going to want to work with you moving forward. So when you do bring a buyer or you do bring another deal, it's a slam dunk for you. They're going to trust you a little bit more. So I think education and being proactive, being creative, thinking outside the box as an agent is going to be huge moving forward, especially with all this commission stuff and Zillow and Rocket buying Redfin. And there's a lot of moves that people aren't paying attention to that are just going to crush the real estate market as a real estate agent moving forward. And you have to stand out.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And I had this argument with an agent the other day. What do you consider what does bringing you a deal mean, right? Like, because I've had agents like forward me an email that a wholesaler sent them. They're like, yo, bro, I brought you this deal. And it's like, you just forwarded me an email. Like, you didn't really bring me a deal, like bringing me a deal, in my eyes, at least, is like, you're in direct contact with the seller. You haven't shown this to anyone else. And you brought me this deal and you're going, hey, Pedro, this is a deal. I brought it to you, like that's what I consider bringing me a deal. Right. So it's like, bringing me a deal isn't forwarding me an email of, some deal that's on Investor Lift. Like that's like, I could have done that. You know what I'm saying? So no, to your point, man, I think bringing value is important, right? And trying to understand the deal through the eyes of an investor. And you brought up a really good point, man. Like what makes a good agent, right? Like, I don't think there's this one answer to that, right? I've been thinking a lot about this stuff, man. And I think a good agent is a combination of a bunch of little small things. So it's like, if you were to tell an agent, hey agent, like make sure that your phone number is listed in the bottom of a video, like I think a lot of the things that, I would tell an agent to do I think if you know, and I think if I'm putting myself in their shoes, they're probably thinking like, what difference is that going to make? You know, like that's just a small little detail. Like that's not really going to change much. And it's like, maybe you may be right about that. But I guarantee you that if you do all of the little things that I tell you to do, the combination of all of those little things will make a huge difference.
Yeah.
I don't think, you know, there's one answer to that. Like it's just a bunch of small little things, you know, from the way that you look to the way that you talk to the, you know, to the type of videos that you put out there. To your point, you know, like the little things that they're doing, trying to pre-sell a deal.
No agents
you know,
are doing
door
that. And
knocking.
that's kind of what I want to drive home to anyone who wants to work with an investor. You have to work with an investor. You can't just show up when it's time for sale, right? You have to go introduce yourself to these investors, even if they're not using you. Get their deals, get a list going. It's not only good for the investor, it's good for you. It's good business. Like these people are coming into open houses with or without agents, and they're saying, cool, this is a house, but I don't like it. If you could say, look, that's great, fuck this house, I have a list of 20 other houses that are coming to the market. Do you want to get on my list and I can email it to you? Would you work with me? And they say, yeah. Not only do you look good with that client, you're gaining that client for life, and you're going to pre-sell one of these investor homes. And then the key is to just follow up with all these investors. You never know, like in a situation like me, I'm in Mike's office, my listing agent's office. We have a good relationship, but the deals aren't moving, right? So I have to think outside the box. I have to say, okay, Mike, thanks for your time, but I have to get someone else who's going to give it a fresh look, who's going to list it at $1 and do a party at night and throw a rave or something to make it, to showcase the house, right? And that's what I need to do at this moment in my life. But I didn't reach out to anyone randomly. I'm reaching out to the people who are approaching me day after day, who are showing me value on the third-party levels. And so now when I look at another agent, I'm going to those guys who are helping me outside of just bringing me a deal. So stay active in the real estate world if you're a real estate agent. I know we're at the top of the hour. Tyler, any questions for anyone? We could go on forever, Pedro. We'll do a round two for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure, man.
Where are you at right now? You're in Corona or San Bernardino area?
I'm in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay.
So, yeah, right around those areas that you mentioned.
I'll be in Corona this weekend. I probably shouldn't say that on social media because now everyone's going to follow the big Cybertruck.
You're famous, bro.
I know. Be careful. You don't want this fame, dude. You don't want this fame. I can't even go to Olive Garden in peace, man. I went to Olive Garden for the first time in like decades, and like I got recognized. I was like, oh man, I didn't want to be at Olive Garden, but they got unlimited breadsticks, bro. Any questions? Any questions? Concerns? Tyler?
Did we get the one that was asking about the difficulty selling a home right now?
I don't know.
No. Nolan asked, why do you say it's more difficult to sell a home now?
Well, maybe it's not difficult, but I mean, compared to what it was, it's difficult, right? So I guess it's subjective, but it's like, dude, you could have listed a beat up house, you know, for 50 grand over what it's really worth 2 years ago. And, you know, somebody would have bought it with a smile on their face, to where it's like now you have these completely remodeled homes that sit on the marketplace. So now agents actually have to do the work. So maybe it's not difficult, right? But it feels difficult compared to what it used to be. That's my point. It's not necessarily that, you know, it's not possible.
I like
homes
to play
are selling.
I'll play devil's advocate there. I think it's difficult in this market because there's more I mean, it's just math, right? There's more inventory.
Right.
There's higher interest rates. Rates are at 7%. They were 3% in 2020, 21, 22. So those two factors alone, inventories and interest rates, make everything more difficult. People just
but we're coming off of you're absolutely right. That does. But bro, like I talked to guys that have been flipping for 20 plus years, and like, bro, when I was doing it, interest rates were higher, right? And I guess the counter argument to that, it's like, yeah, but purchase prices were far lower. Yeah. It's like, okay, cool, I understand that. But my point is like the baseline was like the barrier, like I said, the baseline was just so low. Like you could list anything. The interest rates were so low. The market was so hot. So it's like, yes, things are harder than that. But, if you were to talk to guys that have been flipping for a very long time, they're like, oh, it's not that hard. Bro, it's houses are still selling, right? I'm proof of it, bro. I literally just sold 2 houses this month that we did very well on. For like, like $80,000 plus in profit. Like, 2022 numbers kind of thing. So houses are still selling for above list price, okay? And again, maybe it's market specific and maybe there's a little pockets that are a little hotter than others, but respectfully, that's your job as an agent and an investor to find those pockets, right? So it's not like, it is what it is, but there's still a bunch of business to be done. It is a little bit harder in comparison to what it was. Yep. But my point is, to kind of end this on a good note is to, kind of put some hope into people is that things are still good, bro. Like things are still good. Houses are still moving. There's still a lot of money to be made. So it's not this doom and gloom where it's just like, oh, it's so hard and everything is this. It's like, no, it's like things were just extremely easy, right? And you know what? I'll kind of end it with this. It's like, this is how I've always seen it. It's either hard to buy a house or it's hard to sell a house. Honestly, 2021, 22, when you were talking about these hot markets and everyone was making money, I wasn't making that much money, bro, because it was really hard to find a deal. I would always get outbid. Someone would always just, pay more than me. So it's like extremely hard to find a deal, especially when you're newer, right? Because you have to get these MLS deals. You have no connections. You have no relationships. No one's kind of like sliding you these off-market deals because you don't know anyone, So it was harder then than it is now, to be quite honest. It's just harder to sell the house, but pick your poison. It's going to be hard to buy the house. Or it's going to be hard to sell the house.
Yeah.
Like
you
what
said,
do you want to do?
You said a lot of good things in this call, and I think that was probably the top 3. Like it's either hard to buy or hard to sell. Whether you're in the hard to buy or hard to sell, there's always a way out of it. You just have to find that way. And then stick to the plan. Some of these deals I do, I'm over leveraged and the plan's out the window. And so you have to find a way to pivot and do something that no one's ever done before to get rid of that bad plan execution. So yeah, you're right. It's either hard to buy or hard to sell. Pick your poison.
Right.
But be diligent with your fortune builder plan, essentially. Your fundamentals. All right, Tyler, anything else? Right. Any other questions? Anyone else have anything in the Zoom call? Lots of people there.
Yeah, the buzzer beater was someone asking how long this will last. He says, I'm thinking about getting in, but want the market to cool off. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I hear that all the time, bro. Like, that's like the whole, like, when should I have a kid? It's like, it's never going to be easy. It's always going to be, there's always going to be a reason for you to talk yourself out of this, Like we're just talking about, it's either hard to buy or hard to sell. Like, there's always going to be that one thing to kind of talk yourself out of it. Oh, the market's kind of crazy right now. It's going to crash, or, it's too hot, or this or that. Like, just get in. Like, just get in. You think about, like, if you're to kind of look at your journey or whatever, there's going to be a starting point. And why not make that starting point now? There is no perfect starting point. It's always going to suck. Just get it over with, right? It's like, it's like, I don't know. Anytime I've ever done anything, the beginning of it sucks for me. I've never been the guy that's like talented, like the guy that's just like, you hand him a basketball and like, he's just like good at playing basketball. That's never been me, right? Like I always suck at everything when I first start. So like, maybe I'm used to that, right? To where it's just like, just get it over with, bro. Just join, just do your first deal, pick up the phone, make your first call. Like it's never good. There's that optimal time to get in is like the biggest myth in every single business. There's no optimal time. It's always going to suck. Sorry to burst your bubble. I've been saying this in the nicest way possible. It's like there's no good time. There's no good time. The best time was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Just do it.
I like it. Yeah, you summed that up pretty good.
Well said. And then Laura wants to know, like, will you flip condos or do you stay away from those? And if so, why or why not?
No, I townhomes. Yeah, I love townhomes. Think about it. Townhomes are the only deals that you're going to do that have no exterior work because that's all HOA stuff, right? So it's like you're really dealing with the interior of a property. You don't have to deal with the roof. You don't have to deal with the AC. You don't have to deal with any of the other stuff that a single family home would have to deal with. So you have that advantage, right? Your comps are going to be way more, identical, right? Because you're going to be comparing like apples to apples, like genuinely, right? Like it's going to be the same model match. Like it's going to be hard to find as model of a match in single family homes than what you would find in townhomes. So there's that element to it. But on the flip side, I think it's a smaller buyer pool. So, going back to like holding cost, I would incorporate an additional couple of months in holding costs when analyzing the deal of a townhome or a condo. But yeah, we do them. I have one right now. I just bought one right now. It's one hell of a deal, but the numbers are really, really good. So there's a lot of room for if I have to sit on it for a little while longer than single family homes. I think the buyer pool is a little bit smaller, but yeah,
How
I'll
about
do them.
HOAs? I like condos. I like townhouses for the same reasons you just kind of mentioned, but the HOAs and condos specifically make you submit plans, and those sometimes take 2 to 3 weeks. I try to do them in escrow for the most part, but sometimes they trickle over and you're kind of stuck. You can't do anything because the neighbors complain, or you got to turn the water off on the condo and you need the HOA to come out and do it. So some of these condos I try to stay away from. But townhouses,
yeah, that's
day.
a fair point. Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, you're dealing with the HOA, right? In this case, because I guess I'm thinking of this specific deal that I'm doing. In the case of the deal that I'm doing is, the HOA is kind of like this lady has just been living there, and it smells like cat shit, and it's like she's like the thorn in everyone's side, right? So I'm coming in there, and I'm the hero that's saving the day. So it's like they're not messing with me, man. And also, and going back to like kind of sticking to your plans or whatever, like how you were saying, like I try really hard to do flips that don't require me to get these like heavy duty permits to where I'm like moving walls around, even though I open walls up and shit like that. But like I'm not trying to do stuff that require like engineering and and all that stuff. So I'm remodeling kitchens, bathrooms, flooring,
basics.
paint.
You're doing the basics.
Yeah, retrofit windows. Exactly.
And
like
that's
I'll
how
make
it
a
should
house.
be, because ultimately no one cares. The end buyer.
Exactly.
The end buyer cares to a certain extent what the quality of work is like, but they don't care if you added a bedroom. There's always going to be a buyer for the as-is floor plan, or just keeping everything standard. They're going to come in and do whatever they want. And I've learned that with landscape. I've learned that with like kitchen cabinets and countertops. It's like no one really cares at this point what you do.
Oh, bro, you're so right.
I've had designers come in, high-end Korean designers, like add the best touch. Like, I'm sorry I said Korean, but they were, and they add the highest fixtures and the coolest shower heads. And they design this spectacular thing, and then the first person that walks through the door is a Persian lady, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I don't like the gold, the black. The black is not for me, and so sorry, it's not my style. And now that just sticks in your head. You're like, fuck, I should have never done that. Should have just gone basic. And I can make fun of Persians because I'm related to some, so don't come after me. Koreans, I don't have any, so you guys can come after me. But at the end of the day, no one cares. Stick to the plan. Keep it basic. Condos, townhouses, I love them all. I think just stick to the plan, right? Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Have a timeline. Pad your timeline by 2 months, and kind of go that route. But I like it. Yeah, good question.
No, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, where can people find you, Pedro? Is there a good place to follow?
Yeah, man. I recently started posting more on social media, which is how I met you guys, and
we didn't even get to talk about that. Your videos, like, obviously I'll let you finish the question, but your video quality is, my video guy's right here, and I hate to say it, your guy's way better than mine. No, you have cool edits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how much you pay your guy? My guy just gave me the money sign because I don't pay him enough, if at all.
Yeah, dude, you know what?
Let's see.
I think if I tell you how much I pay my guy, I have to keep this stuff on the low because I think I pay my guy real little too. I'm waiting for my guy to be like,
Hopefully
hey,
he's not
bro,
watching.
No, exactly. Well, to be fair, I'm as consistent as humanly possible. Like I'm filming every single week, so there's like a consistent basis to this. But I pay my guy, and I think I've never told anyone this. I pay my guy $250 a week. So I pay him $250 a week, and he does
$250 more than my guy. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I pay him $250 a week, and he does, I don't know, anywhere from like 5 to 6 pieces of content for me, and
That's not bad.
they're edited fairly well, right?
He edits too.
Yeah, he edits them too.
That's free.
So
that's good.
He does everything. He's in
America.
And then, yeah. What? Yeah, I have his information on my videos. Like a lot of the times, they'll be like, filmed by so and so.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing he's going to give anyone my price.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of built a lot together, and he has like a vested interest in my success, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
awesome.
it's a little bit.
But your videos are cool. I like the edits. I like the way your demeanor is in them. It's very different. It's not like the funny versions I do, but it's like it gives people a reason to watch, right? Like, who is this guy? What's he talking about? He's got a good tempo. The edits are really clean. I'm just jerking you off at this point, but everything's really good about.
I appreciate it though, bro. Because coming into whenever I started, I think it was like mid 2024 and 2025. I always thought to myself, I'm like, I really want to double down on this, right? I always felt like it's a lot easier to talk about flipping real estate than it is to actually do it. So it's like. I was like, let me figure this out. So going back to where people can find me, my Instagram handle is flipwith_P, the letter P. So that's where, I post all of my stuff, and then, I have Facebook and all that other stuff.
YouTube,
but I
right?
post
You don't
everything.
have a YouTube channel?
No. I'm going to start that. Matter of fact, I'll probably have one up by before the end of the week.
Nice.
Let's go ahead and start posting all that stuff on there too. But yeah, flipwith_P is probably the best place to find me.
Yeah, go give him a follow. He's in Southern California, so if you have any deals his way, send them his way. He's paying top dollar apparently, so send him whatever he wants. But go give him a follow, shout him out where you can. This video will be on YouTube a little later, so we can watch the replay, and then we can chop this thing up and send you some clips. So we appreciate your time, awesome, Pedro. I appreciate
I appreciate you, bro. And I'm happy to come back whenever. Like I said, bro, I've been following you for a while, and I'm a big fan of your content.
Nice.
So
we'll get you on the course too. We'll get
you
your own little page on the course where people can kind of pick your brain even more.
Absolutely.
And that'll be
happy
helpful
to help however I can.
It'll be for the community, and they'll learn as much as they can grow. So that's the good news. So yeah, we appreciate you.
Bro.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry we went longer than scheduled, but we just kept talking. It's my fault, but oh well. All right, later,
I contributed.
Later, guys. Later, Tyler.
All right, man.
All right, see you guys.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
y'all.